Databases, SQL, NoSQL, Postgres, MySQL, Mongo, Kubernetes, Percona. Whoa, that's a lot of buzzwords. In this video, we're going to talk about what is a database and why you should use one, some of the popular open source databases and their benefits, where you can learn more about open source databases by registering for Percona's free 2-day community event. Percona Live ONLINE is a free online conference running on the 12th and 13th of May for the open source database community, with talks and community events covering a wide range of topics and databases. There is something for everyone at all levels. Later in this video, I'll go through some of the talks I am interested in. Before we get into this video, let me tell you a bit about myself and my channel. I'm a self-taught full stack developer with over 15 years experience. I'm a GitHub star and GitHub Star of the Year. That's 1 out of 55 million people on GitHub. My goal is to help you accelerate your skill and grow your network so that you can get the job, clients, and money that you deserve. If that sounds interesting to you, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe below, and hit the bell button so you get notified when I post a video or go live. Bonus tip, I have a second YouTube channel with 1 minute or less videos. Link in description below. What is a database and why you should care? A database is where your application persists data. So when the application is restarted or redeployed, the data still exists. The data is usually stored in a table or collection with a unique identifier, also known as UID. The typical interactions with a database will be create, read, update, delete, also known as CRUD. We can also search in the table or collection using certain criteria. A date range, for example for up and coming events. Text string for someone's name. A number that could be used to search for a condition where a user must be over the age of 18. And so much more. We will go into the different types of databases shortly. What is an open source database and the benefits? For those of you who know me, you know everything I do is open source, because I really believe in the benefits. For the new people here, let's just recap the benefits of using an open source database. It's free, but it's also transparent. You get an idea, you find a bug, you can raise it, and you or someone else in the community can make the changes. Why is that so important? Because it means the project will evolve fast and be a much higher quality. Win-win for everybody. And it's much easier to build a community around open source and transparent projects, which means collaborating with like-minded people, which is a great way to support each other, learn together, and grow your network. So when you get stuck, and you will get stuck, there will be so many resources out there on how to move forward, and you can reach out to an ever-growing community. Different types of open source databases. So now we know what is a database and why open source databases are better. Let's talk about some actual examples that I mentioned right at the beginning. You might be thinking, I know all about databases, or you might be just getting started thinking about data and databases. Either way, let's have a quick refresher on why your choice of database is important. There are 2 types of databases, SQL and NoSQL. Examples of SQL databases are MySQL and Postgres. These relational databases typically model the data into tables that contain fixed rows and columns. Think of a spreadsheet. Why are they referred to as SQL databases? Because we use SQL to access the data from these relational databases, also known as structured query language. With SQL, you can not only CRUD and search the database as discussed before, but also join data together. For example, if we had a relational database that contained GitHub data, it would probably have 2 tables, users and repos. When retrieving a GitHub account from the user table, we could also perform a join to get all the users' repositories from the repositories table at the same time in a single query. An example of NoSQL database is MongoDB. You might think NoSQL stands for No SQL, but it actually means not only SQL. I know what you are thinking. How does this NoSQL database differ if it is persisting my data? Well, quite a bit. There are 4 different types of NoSQL databases: document, key value, wide column, and graph. We'll be focusing on document stores as this is the one we come across the most. The data is not stored with rows and columns and relational tables, but in documents that contain JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. I have another video that goes into much more details, including examples. I will put a link in the description below. Document stores allow for much more flexibility and scalability. The data can still be relational, but rather than split across different tables, they're nested within a single document in a collection. Using the GitHub example from before, we would request to get the GitHub account and the user's details, plus the repository would all be returned back together. Now you are all experts in databases, but if you're like me, you always want to know more about this, because learning more will help you do a better job as a developer. This is where attending Percona Live Online can help. Let's mention other tools you'll probably use with your database. Kubernetes. I'm sure you have heard of this one before, also known as K8. It's an open source system for automating deployment, scaling and managing of containerized apps. Some of the benefits of Kubernetes are automated rollouts and rollbacks. Kubernetes progressively rolls out changes to your application or its configuration, while monitoring the application's health to ensure it doesn't kill all your instances at the same time. If something goes wrong, Kubernetes will roll back the change for you. Take advantage of the growing ecosystem of deployment solutions. Self-healing restarts containers that fail, replaces and reschedules containers when nodes die, kills containers that don't respond to health checks, and doesn't advertise them to the clients until they are ready to serve. Service discovery and load balancing. No need to modify your application to use an unfamiliar service discovery mechanism. Kubernetes gives pods their own IP addresses and a single DNS name for a set of pods, and can load balance across them. Secret and configuration management. Deploy and update secrets and application configuration without rebuilding your images and without exposing secrets in your stack configuration, and so much more. We have started using Kubernetes and deploying via GitHub Actions when PRs are merged into default branch for my inclusive open source community, EddieHub, and their apps. Kubernetes is epic. Last but not least, monitoring. Percona Monitoring and the Management is a great free open source monitoring tool, also known as PMM. It helps you reduce complexity, optimize performance, and improve security of your business critical database environments, no matter where your databases are located or deployed. Reduce complexity. A single software solution allows you to easily view and monitor all your open source databases in one place. Optimize database performance. Query and metric information enable you to quickly find, fix, and prevent issues with scaling, bottlenecks, and potential outages. Improve data security. Innovative tools help you run checks for common database security issues, identify unexpected database queries, track database security scans and remediation, and reduce the risk of data exposure. Does that sound interesting? Do you want to learn even more? Join me at Percona Live Online, a free event. Percona Live Online is a community-focused event for database developers to network with peers and technology professionals. Come and learn from the best and brightest in the open source database community as they share their knowledge, experience, and use cases with you in small group sessions and tutorials. The conference will be held online and is free to all attendees in 2021. It will run over 2 days. They will have multiple tracks on various technologies and use cases and will be accessible across all time zones. The conference is heavily focused on attendee experience and engagement. It is an awesome opportunity to get together virtually and chat with like-minded people. There are community rooms organized and hosted by community projects. Technologies and themes will run alongside the Percona Live Online conference sessions. Before we look at the talks I'm interested in, let me share some background on Percona, who are running the event. They are an unbiased open source database expert. Percona is a leading provider of unbiased open source database solutions that allow organizations to easily, securely, and affordably maintain business agility, minimize risks, and stay competitive. Their focus is to remove vendor lock-in, embrace the cloud, optimize database performance, and reduce cost and complexity. As you can see, there are so many talks. You will definitely find something you like. In fact, because there are so many types of talks, I think I counted 25 types, you will probably find so many that you like, you will actually have clashes. A good problem to have. Share on socials what you learn and follow the hashtag Percona Live to learn from others. You can filter by type to make it easier if you want to stay laser focused. I'm really looking forward to Peter Zaitsev's keynote. Peter is the CEO of Percona and one of its co-founders. Peter is such a passionate advocate of open source, and I can't wait to hear his thoughts on the growth of open source and why companies should be actively contributing to open source, which is something I strongly believe in. Amanda Brock from Open UK, who I'm proud to say I've collaborated with. I'm looking forward to hearing Amanda's take on the future of healthy open source ecosystems. Ivan Gronewald from Percona and Kim Thomas from Fiserv are giving a talk about deploying MongoDB using Ansible with a push of a button. Because installing a large number of MongoDB servers can be quite challenging, especially for newcomers. Guy Harrison from Southbank Software will talk about third revolution in database systems. Guy will review important new database systems such as MongoDB, Cassandra, CockroachDB, SnowflakeDB, Neo4j, and what might be in store for the future of database management systems. Kyle Davis from AWS will talk about what is OpenSearch and how did it come about, covering components of OpenSearch, what they do and what problems they solve. Kai Arno from the MariaDB Foundation is giving a talk on open source is more than software. This really resonates with me because we believe in the EddieHub community is about collaboration first and code second. I'm super excited to hear from Kai and their experience with the MariaDB and the community. One of the super positive aspects of Percona Live Online, you'll be able to ask questions after each talk. Let's register for this event together. To attend this free online event, you need to register. The link to the registration is in the description below. Register here? Yes, please. RSVP? And that's it, I'm now registered. If you want to join this free online event, don't forget to register too. There's a link in the description below. What are you waiting for? Register and join me there. Don't forget, it is free to register and attend this event. Let me know in the comments below what talks you're interested in. I'll see you next week at Percona Live Online.